Something I really appreciate is when an author not only respects the reader, but finds them intelligent to the point that they put so much thought into how they write it that they want you to also put on your literary cap and really analyze what is happening, really be critical about the writing.
Today we're discussing A Lesson in Vengeance by Victoria Lee, a dark academia psychological thriller full of witchcraft, ghosts, horror elements, secret societies, and digging deep into the literary analysis of this book.
A Lesson in Vengeance by Victoria Lee. And Victoria Lee, she actually has a degree in psychology. And this book is a dark academia psychological thriller with witchcraft. And as I was saying, that she is respectful and complimentary to her reader. Not only does she have you critically think about the ending, which I was terrified as I was coming up on the last few paragraphs because I had a feeling, but she doesn't tell you. She leaves it up for you to interpret based on all the information she's given to you in the book, which also specifically one of those things is that we cannot trust the narrator. Our narrator is not trustworthy. But this is also where it gets sort of meta. The main character, Felicity, she is a senior at this preparatory boarding school for all girls, and it's for very high academics, so you can get into an Ivy League or whatever. They write a thesis paper for their senior project. And what Felicity is writing about is essentially what Victoria wants you to analyze in this book. So this is from a scene where Felicity and the other main character, Ellis, are having an evening over the holiday with Ellis's sibling, Quinn, who's visiting for Thanksgiving. And there's kind of a thing going on with Felicity and Ellis, but it hasn't been established yet. But I think her sibling, Quinn, has an idea. So they're kind of playfully grilling Felicity about who she is. Are you, worthy enough for my sister, sort of a thing. Quinn is asking Felicity, what are you studying? What are you writing about? And mostly how depictions of mental illness are used to build suspense by introducing uncertainty and a sense of mistrust, especially with regard to the narrator's perception of events and the conflation of magic and madness in female characters. Literally, that's what Victoria wants us to be thinking about while we're reading this book. But she doesn't tell you that till page 256 out of 369. So you get really far in the book, you don't know that. And I don't feel like it's a huge spoiler because other people I've seen do reviews, they talk about this a lot. And I think it's a super important thing to put your literary cap on and have this critical analysis of our narrator, Felicity Morrow, because she has a lot going on. This is part of the front jacket, so it's not giving much away. But the previous year, kind of the year before, midway through the year, she lost her girlfriend in a terrible accident. Felicity is dealing with PTSD, grief, and trauma, but she's also having a lot of psychological issues because her and her ex-girlfriend, Alex, were kind of involved in witchcraft stuff. Alex more so just due to association. Basically, the school that they go to is called the Dalloway School. And in the book, it was founded by a woman who was claimed to be a witch, and her daughter was also claimed to be a witch. But more specifically, the school references more the Dalloway Five, which is the founder's daughter and 4 other girls who were a coven. And there's a lot of history about how they died in really strange ways. Was it witchcraft? Was it not? There's rumors that their spirits haunt the school, specifically the Godwin house that Felicity lives in. They died near the home and on campus in different parts. And previously, in Felicity's original senior year, she had to repeat because of all the trauma that happened. She was originally writing her thesis, her senior thesis essay about these Dalloway Five witches, and she got a little too involved to the point now that returning to school, she thinks that she's not only being haunted by her girlfriend, but also by the Dalloway Five. There's a lot of things happening to Felicity that's really messing with her perception. But more specifically, there is something vital in her past that unravels constantly in different ways throughout the book. So much so there was one thing that she I don't know if she was omitting or lying or holding back. I don't know what specifically because I'm still it's a lot. But eventually Victoria reveals to us what the actual truth is through Felicity. And the way that it comes about, I almost thought that Victoria had made some weird mistake because of what I've been told for so long by Felicity, our main narrator, our main character. But then it popped up again and then again, and I was like, okay, Victoria is like literally now in our face telling us what we need to look for, which is what made the ending like so much more chilling. The reason why I think that this is so brilliant and respectful of Victoria as a writer and really believing that her readers are intelligent, because this is a beautiful way to analyze literature by dropping things into your book to make your readers be critical thinkers. You know, there's plenty of books that I enjoy that I feel like the characters taught me lessons, I feel a very kinship to them, or just love the world and the imagination that I'm put in. But to like actually have elements to that make you critically think, crave those. And there's a reason why there's certain books that you read in school that give you those elements to have that critical thought process. And our main character, Felicity, she actually wants to go to college to study literature. She loves literature. She reads all the time for her hobby, but then also for her senior thesis that she's writing. So this book is full of like dark academia vibes. I'm not going to get too much into it, but just know like it's all over the book because all these girls are constantly studying to the point that like some of them don't even have phones because they need to focus on their academia, and they love reading to the point that they have a secret society called the Night Migration, where part of it, they're literally like drinking, I think it's whiskey or something, but they're drinking and reading poetry. So the dark academia vibes are heavy and they're 24/7. If you love that, you're in for that. That's what Felicity wants to study. She wants to deep dive into literature and be a critical thinker. And obviously I know Victoria is not Felicity because Victoria is not what this character is, but I do feel like she kind of put like a little of her essence into her characters in the sense of like, I'm guessing like Victoria herself is very intelligent. She has a psychology degree. Felicity talks about like literally analyzing literature and really digging deep into it and having opinions about it. And as a writer, you put that in there because it's something you care about. So when I was in college, you know, I took my required English courses, and one of them specifically, my professor was, I don't know, sometimes him and I did not get along. But one of the things I did appreciate is he had us read the book, The House of Mirth. Now this book I love because it does the same exact thing that Victoria does. At the end of the book, it makes the reader have a debate with other people about what they think happened. So in The House of Mirth, spoiler, sorry, it's been around for a while, the main character overdoses on pills, and you don't know if it's accidental or on purpose. And you have to decide that based on the clues that are given to you throughout the whole book that you've read based on her life and her choices. And so my teacher said, this is a huge debate in the literary world, and it was so fun to talk about it in class and share our opinions about what we think happened. And so in this book, the same exact thing, there's something that happens at the end, and the way that Victoria writes it, she literally leaves it up for you. I think I know what happened. And in my opinion, I think that if what I think happened, I think it's genius writing. So I really hope that that's what happened. I have zero idea if Victoria's ever gonna tell us, but like, it's just insane. And so like, that is my biggest takeaway about this book, is that so much mad respect for Victoria Lee as an author, really intertwining everything into her book the way that she does it, and it's done so masterfully. Like, I honestly would say that I feel like this book is pretty close to a masterpiece. And it was funny because I was getting slightly frustrated that 3/4 of the way, things were not progressing. But once I reached the end, I realized it wasn't, the plot is more of a device that's important for who these characters are and the point that Victoria is trying to make. Specifically, in what I read to you, depictions of mental illness used to build suspense by introducing uncertainty and a sense of mistrust, especially with regard to the narrator's perception of events and the conflation of magic and the madness in female characters. Like, if I was writing an essay about this book, that would be my main piece of argument for my essay. In, you know, my first paragraph, my thesis, that would be the focus of what this book is. For all of the academic, like bookish study nerds out there, like this is your book to read for that very instant. I bow down to Victoria, and I'm gonna read your other books because I'm like so fascinated by the way you write. And then all the witchcraft is also really cool because the fun, mellow part of this is, if you like witchy vibe, #witchcore. Felicity uses tarot cards all the time. She loves playing with crystals for protection. She also has like a bunch of flowers and herbs, which she'll do other things for protection. Seriously, read this book, check it out. So make sure you share this video with your bookish friends, please. Give it a thumbs up and subscribe. All that stuff really helps me so I can keep this channel growing, because I love talking about books and just like nerding out with all of you and just like obsessing over these imaginary worlds that we love. And also I do have a Patreon if you'd like to support me monthly. Definitely doable. If you can't do monthly, totally fine, understand. I also have a Buy Me a Coffee, which is a one-time support, and it's literally what it is. You can buy me a coffee. All that stuff helps so I can continue doing these, advancing these videos, and I have lots of fun ideas for you guys. Speaking of, I'm gonna be doing a read with me once a week, and I will constantly try to have them in different environments. The last one I did was in my living room. The next one is either gonna be at a park or in a coffee shop, so look out for that. I'll see you on the next video.